there! I'm going to be talking about these flowers called the mock orange. And I'm going to be talking about some of the fragrances that you can experience that have mock orange or mock orange essence or accords. And yeah, so please stick around if that's something that you're interested in to know. And thanks for joining me. So this beautiful flower is called the mock orange. And it is from, this one is from my garden. This is actually a double mock orange. And they're kind of common as a shrub, house shrub. And I'd never experienced them before that I know of until I moved to the house that I live in now, and they already existed. And I'm just going to put it down. So they smell absolutely incredible. They smell like oranges and roses. They smell like orange flower, you know. So these mock orange, I worked in the floral industry and I worked in the perfume industry. And we never use mock orange in professional floral design that I've ever heard of. Maybe some people do, but I haven't ever heard of that. And I never ever heard of anything called mock orange being used in perfume. But I only recently found out that it is used widely in fragrances. Widely. And I never heard of it before. And I worked in the floral industry and I worked in the fragrance industry. Off and on, I don't anymore. But I can't believe that I never heard. And I love flowers. I'm a gardener, sort of. I'm a gardener. No, I'm a gardener. I'm not that good at it. Is really what I should say. I try to get better all the time. But anyhow, moving on. I wanted to tell you that some things about the mock orange. Now, you know, of course, I'm trying to be organized, but lo and behold, now I'm not. So, how was your? Okay. I keep on turning the same thing around and around. Okay. Mock orange is one of the oldest shrubs in cultivation, and books from the 16th century mention it. There are many different kinds, and many of them smell different. I want you to know that in my garden I have 2 of these, and they fragrance the air like crazy. And this one here, bringing it in the house, it fragrances up the whole house. Even just a small little sprig. I would have these all over the house, except for the fact that, which is the case with a lot of my flowers that grow in the garden here, so many flowers are full of little bugs, little creatures, little lives, and I cannot stand to take them from their habitat or ruin their life, or it just makes me feel really bad. But at the same time, I really, really want some of those flowers. So I try to, I'm sparing about what I bring in. I clip the flowers and I shake them and I try to like make sure that the bugs are off. And if there's a bug on there, I'll try to put the bug back on the plant that it came from, because I just don't like to be unkind to these little tiny creatures. They're just hey, they're fellow flower lovers. Anyhow, so, but I do really, really enjoy my flowers, and I thought, oh, here's my opportunity to cut myself a big sprig, you know, some nice branches and bring them in. I do anyways, but I'm still sparing with it. Otherwise, I really would have them in all the rooms because it smells so good. Yeah, okay, so, let's see. Yeah, I never saw any flower. I never heard of it, never saw it before. And I didn't know what it was either on my property. I was like, what is this amazing thing? There must be some history of it. And sure enough. Okay, so, oh, this might be of interest to you or not. It's hardy in zones 4 through 8. So it doesn't really care for the warmer climates. It's, well, 8 is kind of warm, but it's not that warm. 4 is pretty cold. Like where I am in Canada, it snows and gets really cold in the winter, and we're zone 5, something like that. So this will even go colder. You can grow this in a colder climate. That's interesting too. Growing up in California, you see so many things that are alive all the time, but in Canada, I see things that grow here in the springs, in like the seasons like spring and summer, that I never saw in Southern California where it's warm all the time. I didn't realize that a lot of things actually need the cold to bloom. Like, I believe tulips, lilacs, I think apples. I don't know for sure if apples grow in Southern California. They might, but I just haven't seen it. Not that I'd see anything growing in Southern California, because everything is developed real estate pretty much. And that's not a lie. That when I was a teenager, there were senior citizens who would say, when I first came here, there were orange trees as far as the eye could see. I'm not kidding you. It's like this, I think it's The Simpsons. There's like a few people that say, I'm not kidding. I do remember old folks saying that. And you look around and everything's pavement, and you're like, really? That doesn't seem possible. They must be making it up or exaggerating, like, oh yeah, he walked how many miles in the snow to get to school. No, it actually, they've said that. Anyhow, so yeah, the fact that I have this amazing flower on my property piqued my interest, and I went looking for some information about it. And so here are some fragrances that contain essences or artificial accords, or I'm sorry, I'm not exactly perfectly up on the meanings of everything. I did used to work in women's and men's fragrances and cosmetics a long time ago, but I'm not really any kind of expert today. But I am an expert on what I like and what I think is interesting, and I am genuinely enthusiastic about this stuff, so it's no lie. So here we go. Actually, in no particular order, but I think most of these are from Fragrantica, which is freaking-tastic. Fragrantastic. Okay. By number 1, by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I'm trying to get better on all that. Aqua Universalis Forte, 2021. Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Aqua Universalis Forte. Unisex, also known as shared or genderless fragrance. Number 2, or in no particular order, but in my list, number 2. Oriflame Powdery Mimosa, 2022, and that is a fragrance for her. Then we have, Oriflame Powdery Mimosa, 2022 for her. Okay, next up, Thomas Cosmala Tonic Blanc. Tonic Blanc. 2018, and that is also a genderless fragrance. Thomas Cosmala Tonic Blanc 2018, a shared unisex fragrance. 4 on my list, Parfum Sophiste, Petit Bonheur, 2012, that's a fragrance for the ladies. Parfum Sophiste Petit Bonheur, 2012, for her. Okay. Number 5 on my list, Rhinestone by Bral Gems. No year for her. I think it says her. Her or him. I'm not exactly sure. The words look very similar, and my writing is... I need to get better with that. Yeah, Rhinestone by Bral Gems, I think. No year given for her. I think it says for her. You know what? I dotted it. Maybe it's for him. No, it's called Rhinestone, right? Logic dictates it's probably not Rhinestone for him. Although, if it is, I'm all for it. It sounds really cool. Moving on. Number 6 on my list of fragrances with mock orange. Okay. Moving on. Number 6. This was really interesting. It was a Russian fragrance. It looked, I'm sorry, I don't know. It looked like Russian writing, but I'm not exactly sure. But it was called, I believe, Rasvet, Rassvet, Mockba, Mockba. And there was no year given, but the bottle looked really old. The bottle that I found of it, because I wanted to find some older fragrances that contained mock orange, and that was one of the few that I found. For the most part, I could just find newer things. But that cannot be the way it is. There must be lots of older stuff, because now that I understand the use of mock orange, the vast use of mock orange in fragrances, it must have been in use for a long time. I mean, especially considering what I told you, that it's like one of the oldest shrubs in cultivation, and that books from the 16th century mention it. I mean, it does make sense that it's had a lot of uses. And let's see, there was some other stuff too. I think there was some medicinal stuff, but I didn't go that deep in it. But I do want to tell you, I also read that it is poisonous to ingest and to animals, I think cats and dogs. So just a word of caution, because I would say you should run out and buy this shrub because it's incredible. However, if you have the little friends around, my cats never ate it, never had a problem with it, but you never know, and you can't take a chance on our little friends. They're very, very important. You gotta watch out for them, because they're our little children in a way, and we don't want to do things that put them in danger or harm. So anyhow, all right, let's see. Okay, here is another one called Nouvelle Etoile by Fadetta, I believe, Fadetta. I really hope I don't have this wrong. I really apologize. Feel free to correct me down below if I'm wrong about any of this stuff. But yeah. So yeah, that one was Nouvelle Etoile by Fadetta, and there was no year given, and that was a fragrance for women. And then another one, I think this was one that looked like it had I'm sorry, I don't know what the name of it is, but Russian writing, I don't know. Is it Cyrillic? I'm sorry, that's probably, I'm ignorant and I admit it. Okay. TRNP. Turnip? TRNP, that's what I'll say. Kodama. Kodama. From 2018, and that is a shared, genderless, unisex, you get the idea, fragrance. TRNP, Kodama, 2018, it is a genderless fragrance. And continuing on. Okay, This is number 9 on my list of fragrances that contain mock orange in one way, shape, or form. L'eau de Gina by Au Pays de la Fleur. Au Pays de la Fleur. Au Pays de la Fleur. 2018. That is a fragrance for her. That is L'eau de Gina by Au Pays de la Fleur. Oh, oops. Au Pays de la Fleur d'Oranger. Au Pays de la Fleur d'Oranger. Oh, I hope I'm not getting this stuff wrong. I have a funny feeling that maybe I know one of my videos in the past I did. I was a little bit off. I gave correct information, but it was a little bit confused the way that I did. Anyhow, you don't need to know that, do you? Okay, so that one was from 2018. That was one for ladies. Moving on, this was number 10. So this is the final one on my list of mock orange fragrances. This one was really, really exciting to me because I can't believe that I found a fragrance called Mock Orange. It's called Mock Orange by Saveur. Saveur or Savor, S-A-V-O-U-R, from 2022. And it is a genderless fragrance. So, isn't that great? I'm absolutely thrilled that there is a brand new fragrance that is just barely, it's like spanking, like spanking brand new. And Mock Orange by Savor from 2022. It is a genderless fragrance. I'm so excited to be like riding the little wave of I have a distant past, working professionally with fragrances and cosmetics, and as a florist, not such a distant past as a florist, but to sort of like enjoy seeing all these things come together and into some interesting things that I think is kind of interesting for this YouTube channel. It's really, really fun for me. So I hope that some other people are enjoying it, and even if no one is enjoying it, probably someone might find it interesting at some point that Mock Orange is ubiquitous in fragrances, and yet no one's ever heard of it. And isn't it kind of insulting that it's called Mock Orange? No, that's your name. We're just going to name you by what you're like, or what you're kind of like. This flower, it should have a name, don't you think? What would you call this gorgeous flower? Go ahead and write down below. And by the way, I hate to ask, but I do know that it is true. When I watch YouTubers and they say like, hey, why not subscribe or like or just leave a comment, why not? Slap the bell. Like, subscribe, slap, holler, like, subscribe, slap the bell, and holler, yada, 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 da, da. Anyhow, I try to make some of these more classy than others, and so I try to keep it to a minimum, but then I veer off into this. Anyhow, the Mock Orange, don't you think it's pretty and it deserves its own name besides just sounding like something else it kind of looks like and kind of smell? It does smell like it, by the way. The flowers of an orange tree smells just like this. This smells better, but that smells incredible. That really does smell like a flower too. It's really nice. So, Mock Orange by Savor, 2022. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for my little trip down Mock Orange Lane, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I shall hopefully see you again in the future. Okay? I hope to see you next time. Bye! Something else that I want to tell you that's really interesting about the Mock Orange is that it contains saponins. So you can actually use the leaves and the petals of the flowers with some water, and you rub them together, and it's actually a soap. It'll clean your hands. It'll clean you. You can use it for cleaning. I think I read also you can use it for like washing clothes, things like that. But it will not get out grease. It's bad for removing oil, but that it will get you clean. So I really don't know how long ago mine were planted on the property that I live on. But I wonder if when they were planted, if they were put there for those purposes. You know what, I remember reading something a long time ago or hearing something a long time ago. It was in defense of planting. When you're going to plant a garden, should you plant flowers or should you plant food? And of course it doesn't have to be either or, but I remember whatever it was I read, I don't remember what it was from, but it said don't forget to plant for beauty and for, how it was, grace, beauty, grace, pleasure, because whenever you have hard times, those things of that kind of enjoyment are the first things that are dispensed of. So if there's any way that you can have those in your world where you just don't have to pay anything for them, like for instance with perennial plants, or if you live in an apartment, for instance, I lived in apartments most of my life until my husband and I bought our first house, and I know what it's like to live where you just don't have a lot of space to do things. But if you can grow something in your surrounding that will just keep on giving you something beautiful, something graceful and enjoyable that you don't really have to pay for, you don't have to associate money with it at all, it's a real benefit to your life. I find that one of the indoor, if you like flowers and you're looking for an indoor flower to grow, or to, not necessarily to grow, I think they're hard to grow, but you can buy them already, they're planted. They're geraniums. They're meant for an outdoor plant that people consider to be an annual, but they will live forever if they're in the right climate. Because I know, because I've had the same one I dug up out of my garden and I brought it where I live now from my last house, and the thing has been living now for like 13, 14 years, and it keeps on blooming red geranium flowers. So if you're a person who wants to have a nice little something pretty to just keep on blooming, and you can take the little flowers and just enjoy them. They don't smell particularly nice, geraniums, but they are a really good flower to just sort of have if you just want something pretty to keep growing in your house that don't take a lot of effort. Yeah, so that's just something that I remember reading, to plant for beauty, because whenever you don't have enough money or whatever, that beautiful things are the first things that are dispensed of, and this way you can be assured that you're going to get to enjoy some of those graceful, beautiful things. So anyhow, and thank you so much for joining me for this video, and I really liked getting to talk about the mock orange. So I hope to see you next time. Bye!